All right, here we go. It's another edition of Cougs Corner. It's brought to you by the Cougar Collective, your home base for all NIL opportunities, connecting student athletes, fans, and business owners. You can join today, hashtag Mighty by Many, and supporting student athletes on and off the field, like our next guest right here, almost. We're going to talk to Kyle Thornton here in a quick second. You can also join the 1890 Club for as little as $18 in 90 months, or 90 cents a month. 90 months would be interesting, but $18.90 a month. You can also make a one-time donation. If you're a business, you can collaborate your brand as well. And of course, the Old Crimson legendary lager brewed by Pike Brewing. Visit cougarcollective.org. And of course, a Flat Stick Pub as well. Cougar owned and operated. They've got 6 amazing locations across the state of Washington: Kirkland, Pioneer Square, South Lake Union, Spokane, Bellingham, and Redmond. Visit flatstickpub.com. Kyle Thornton, how are you, sir? That was a pretty good weekend.
You could say that again.
Yeah, that was awesome. How many times have you watched the play?
Too many to count, to be honest. It's been popping up on my feed quite a bit. It's almost every time I pull up Twitter or Instagram, it pops back up, and it's unreal every time.
Yeah, you want to watch it one more time just for giggles?
Let's do it. Why not?
We could always just give it a shot one more time.
Oh, exactly.
And just in case you haven't seen it enough, or people haven't seen enough. Watch how fast you get in there, sir. Look at you.
So good.
They stopped him.
I love the TV broadcast over top of it, because like I said, you honestly don't get to hear that on the field.
Yeah.
You just hear the roar, but like the TV broadcast just makes it so much more like unreal.
Do you? There was a video that came out, I think, from your creative team, which does just a phenomenal job over there at WSU, and they had an interview with you talking about you got to envision plays happening, and then you got to go out and make them. Now, did you shoot that beforehand? Was that before the game?
No, so that was
that was afterwards.
Yeah.
Okay,
no, that was actually after the game. Yeah.
I was thinking, God, did you know that play was going to happen? And then you ended up making it. Take me through that final play, Kyle. And what did you see as a linebacker? What did you guys see as a defense when they lined up?
Yeah, so it starts kind of like earlier in the week, just knowing UW's personnel and knowing how they wanted to run their offense. We knew they were going to try to feed number one somehow, some way. Especially being there on the 2, we knew if we could stop him, we were probably going to be able to stop their offense and win the game. So come down to that last play, we're lined up there. We're in a call that allows us to do that. Pretty much I was manned up on him from the time the play starts to the time the play ends. And just what was going through my mind that whole play was, I can't let this guy get 2 yards. I didn't let the moment get too big, but it definitely was in the back of my mind of, this is for the game. And it's something that like you practice for. Like, it's almost storybook how, thinking, oh, when I'm practicing for last minute draw, like stand against UW to win the Apple Cup. Like, you can't write a better story than that.
Yeah. Was that a play that you guys had seen on film at all?
I don't think we had seen it from 23, but I know in 2022 when we played them down there in Tucson, they did have a sprinkle of speed option every now and then. So I vaguely remember, and I think that's a benefit, of having such a tenured career here, is you get to see a lot of years of film, and every now and then you remember a tidbit or two from things you've seen in the past. So.
Were you surprised, as many were surprised, that they ran such a play, one with Will Rogers instead of maybe the freshman quarterback, and then 2, surprised that they ran it to that short side of the field?
Yeah, on both accounts. I mean, I thought it was definitely a little interesting because they used a timeout to kind of get a look at what we were in. They go to timeout and then come back out, and they still run Rogers out there. I guess there's an argument to be made for, if you put their backup in, the kid that had been running all day, it kind of would have tipped off that, quarterback run was coming. Mm-hmm. But then to the short side, we were really anticipating something up the middle. But I think credit to our D-line all day. They'd be doing an absolutely amazing job of just stuffing any sort of inside run. And so I think that really forced their hand into trying something out of the box and something that maybe really isn't in their DNA. and it ended up being a great play for us.
So the expectation was you guys break the huddle. They call a timeout. Hey, number 2 is going to get the ball. Coleman's going to get the ball most likely. What were you guys thinking, up the middle?
Yeah. It was pretty much one's going to be up the middle, and I was ready for that one. No doubt about it. But yeah, as soon as I saw him break for the sideline, it was all gears on to try to get him down before I reached the pylon.
What did that mean to you to pull off that win?
It just meant, boy, I've yet to find the right word for it. I don't think there is a single word for it. The best way I think I can describe it is just an unreal. It's different because it's not the end of the season like it's been in the past, but just to add that chapter towards the end of my career here at Wazoo, it's just a storybook ending. You know, my career has been such a journey for me, and to be able to end it in 2024, you know, after 6 long years, winning the Apple Cup on a fourth quarter, last minute stand, it doesn't get any better than that. Like, you can't write a book better than that. So,
and then especially kind of with everything that has transpired here in the last year plus.
No, exactly. Like, even beyond the year, like, there's been so much that's transpired, you know, up here in Pullman over these past 6 years. You know, if you would have told me as a freshman you're going to go through all that I've gone through, I would have been like, you're crazy. But I wouldn't change it for the world being here where I am today. I think everything that I have had to go through has been a key part of my journey, has made who I am today.
What was it to go through adversity? What is that? How did that shape you, who you are today? Not just as the player, but as the person.
Yeah, so the person I am today was shaped by the adversity that I faced, just because, you know, be humble for everything that's happened to you and be grateful for everything that's happened. You know, I think I really appreciate my journey because it isn't a journey of me being given anything besides an opportunity. You know, showing up here in 2019, I was a walk-on, and that was it. I was still paying for school. You know, I still have student loan debt here, and I wouldn't want it any other way, because it was truly pulling myself up by my own bootstraps, earning everything I've ever gotten, and it's just, I couldn't be more thankful.
What was you talk? There's pictures, there's video, a brace of with your family on the field. Afterwards, what was that like? Your family, your parents were very emotional,
Yeah.
like you could expect parents would be after such a crazy and emotional game.
Yeah, so after we, you know, I got done hoisting the trophy up on the stage, I come down and just happened to find my family on the field. Immediately, like, start hugging on them. We're in like a group hug. They're all crying. I'm holding back tears a little bit, and then the camera shows up and like, oh, hey, can we grab you for an on the field interview? And I'm like, yeah, totally. My dad and mom and brother all like hanging on to me, like bawling their eyes out. And what I think you get is just, it's so good to see the emotion from the family's perspective, because, you know, a lot of people don't understand what they go through, you know, being a fan. You know, it's a totally different experience when you don't actually get to control the outcome of the game. And obviously, you know, being a player actually in the fire and in the fight, I think I handled it a little better, I would say. But all the emotions they were feeling were just from pride for what had been done.
And then you think back to the days that you started playing football or any youth sports, right? They drive, you know, your mom was probably the one, and your dad. I mean, your dad maybe coached you, maybe your mom coached you, or they're driving you everywhere. So you probably, you know, the emotions is probably for them is back to those moments watching you play, you know, at the ages of 8, 9, and 10.
Oh, exactly. And that's why I'm really glad that they were actually able to be on the broadcast. Like, it just goes to show all the hard work. And I don't take that for granted whatsoever. Just all the effort and hard work, you know, they've put in for me and over my career. I wouldn't be here without them, just like anyone else. And yeah, so grateful.
The locker room like? I mean, you saw the emotions of your head coach. I'm sure you've seen the video afterwards where he talked about, hey, we talked. The message this week was not about hating them, but it was more about loving one another. Take our viewers, our listeners inside what the locker room was like and just the emotions after that win.
I think you just hit the nail on the head. Just the pure love for the Cougs and for each other just poured out and into that locker room. I think it probably took us about an hour to actually get out of the locker room once we all got in there, because there was just so many guys, congratulating one another, recognition of what had been done. Obviously, guys waiting to take pictures with the trophy, all the different hype music and dances going on. It was pretty much a party for a straight hour in the locker room, just outbursts of emotion, all the guys going crazy. Just unreal.
What as a senior on the team, what was your message all week long to maybe? And listen, you grew up in California, so it's not like you didn't grow up with this. I mean, you didn't know what it was about. What was your message to guys who didn't grow up in Washington? They were experiencing this rivalry for the first time.
Exactly, to your point. I told a lot of the younger guys, like, when you first get here, you don't really understand the importance of it, because, like you said, you're from a different place. You don't really get it. But I think what you have to rely on is, your love for your brothers and your love for the people who have been here for so long that do understand its importance. Understand if it's important to them, it should probably be important to you. And, that's something that I had to learn throughout my career. When I was in 2019 as a freshman at my first Apple Cup, I didn't really get it. I remember being in the stadium, like, listening to the fans cheer, and like, this is kind of a big deal. But now that I've gotten to spend my career here, you really understand what it means to the people of Washington, and more importantly, to the Cougs. And it means so much for us, especially right now during the time that we're in. It's so huge for us.
You expand on that, the time that you're in. What do you mean by that?
Honestly, just all the kind of craziness that's been kind of coming our way for this past year and a half or whatever it's been. There's been a lot of what's the right word for it?
Just
hectic.
Yeah, just chaos.
And you know what? I think that's the beautiful thing about football and about this time of the year is there's been so much chaos, but on Saturdays we get to go out there, and for 4 hours we get to kind of just play football. We get to forget about the chaos. It doesn't matter what happens in a year. It doesn't matter what happens in 2 years. All we're worried about is winning a football game, and I think that's the beauty of it.
Yeah. And then just you feel the support and the love from this fan base, but it's also, I think that there's some fans with the growing uncertainty of college football, right, Kyle, that it's, God, I don't know if I want to be all the way in. I don't like what's happened. So there's this great high of this Apple Cup win, and then you've got to now turn it right back around. You got a football game coming up in a few days against San Jose State on Friday. And so it's like, all right, I know you guys were there in Seattle. A lot of people traveled over, like students traveled over. Now we need you back into Martin Stadium on Friday night. You need that support because, obviously that's just going to give you guys energy and kind of push you guys through a game like that I would expect is going to be emotionally hard to get up for, just because it's taking place so soon after such an emotionally draining game.
A little bit, but you'd be surprised. Our team, I think, does such a great job about resetting each and every week. And we have a lot of guys who are hungry to continue to get better. And I think Coach Diggert said it best in his press conference. We didn't play a perfect game in the Apple Cup. Yeah. And I think that's something really exciting for us is, we get to come out here on Friday and show how much better we can play.
Yeah. He had a cigar in his post-game press conference. Were there cigars being passed around to the players? Did we light any of those up? I didn't see any pictures.
I don't know about the players. I know some of the coaches found a way to get their hands on some.
Yeah. How does one celebrate after something like that? You guys, it takes you a while to get home, get out of the locker room. You fly back to Seattle or fly back to Pullman. It's a short little flight. Boom, you land. You're an old man now, being a senior. Okay, you're not a spring chicken anymore. Do you go back to the apartment, go to bed? Are we going out? What are we doing? I'm not trying to get you in trouble with anybody. I'm just wondering how after a big emotional win like that, what does Kyle Thornton? What does his teammates do?
So I guess the best way to put it is what I do is not necessarily what everyone else does. as you said, I am a little bit of the old man around here. So, I go home and drink a cup of tea. No, I'm kidding.
Cup of tea. Yeah.
No, but I got home. Obviously, we got home a little earlier with it being an earlier game. Relaxed for a little bit, kind of just was able to sit down, me and my girlfriend, and just really kind of take in what just transpired. It had been such a kind of like emotional roller coaster for the day that it was kind of nice just to take an hour or so just to kind of like, I don't want to say decompress, but just really kind of take it all in and be like, that this just happened. Like this was real. Like this is a big moment for the Cougs. But then after that, the night was still young, and it was like, all right, maybe it's good to show face and make sure that the Cougs are getting after it a little bit.
I mean, I wanted the trophy to like make an appearance at the Coug. I mean, you should have just taken around to every bar around town.
I hear you. I think it might need to make an appearance every now and then. But it sounds like the head man wants to keep it in house, which I can't blame either. It's probably safer in house.
I would imagine after Carson Bruner, who's a fantastic linebacker for Washington, had tackled John Mateer, he actually left with an injury. It's very rare that you see a quarterback inflict an injury to a linebacker. But that's the case. I would imagine tackling John Mateer is not a fun task.
No, it certainly does not seem to be a very fun task. Unfortunately, we do not get to tackle quarterbacks in practice. I think it would make practice a lot more interesting if we could have tackled them all year. But obviously, we don't want to get them hurt, so we let them have their fun, and they get to pretend like we never tackle them. But it would appear off of all the games we've watched so far, he's a tough one to take down.
What is he like? And just when he takes off and runs like that, I mean, it's just something you guys, since you've been there, you've never had a quarterback like this that does this. When he does the things that he does on the ground with his legs, and then at times seeks out a defender and puts his shoulder down. From a defensive perspective, what does that do for you guys?
What I think it does for the whole team is it's just so easy to see a man who is willing to like put the team on his back and someone that we can rally behind. When you see your quarterback willing to do that for you and the team and the program, it's like, all right, if he can do it, why can't we not do it? And I think it's just electrifying for our team. He's a great personality. I don't know if you had him on the show yet, but he is just a ball of energy. Yeah. The smile couldn't be any bigger. He's amazing.
He talked about, he was on the show a couple of weeks ago. He talked about his NIL deal that he has with the barbecue spot. Yeah. Do we have a barbecue? Like, do we need to get you like a food NIL deal over there? Do you have one?
I don't have any yet. I am totally open to anything and everything. His barbecue one is pretty sweet. I'd love to represent Miss Huddy's. But yeah, no, I am open to any and all takers.
If you could is there a spot over there around that if you could I wish I could, that particular restaurant or that spot? Do you have one in mind? I mean, we'll put pressure on him right here, Kyle.
I'm trying to think.
Cella's. I go to Cella's every time I go back there. That's where I go.
You know what? Cella's is a good spot. Cella's has got real good. They got good pizza. Their calzones are pretty big. They got some good bread twists. I like Cella's. Yeah, Cella's is a good spot.
I know Kim. We can talk to Kim. Let's get hey Kim and Cella's. Let's get a deal for Kyle, an NIL deal, and then he can go there and have a calzone. Name a calzone after him.
Let's do it.
The Kyle Thornton calzone or pizza. What would be in it or what would be on it?
It would definitely be a meat lover's pizza. We're talking pretty much every protein you can throw on there, and you can forget about all the veggies.
Is there a protein that does not belong on a pizza?
Ooh. I don't know how common it is, but any fish product does not belong on a pizza. I don't know if there is. But there doesn't need to be like anchovies or anything on pizza. No.
Fair. Chicken,
a nice barbecue chicken pizza can be done well. Maybe not on a red sauce pizza, but it has its place.
Okay. It's early in the week. Give me. I mean, I could sit here and we could just talk food all the rest of the show. Give me an early take on San Jose State, and let people know, how do you guard against, because that's going to be the fans' biggest thing, right, Kyle? It's going to be, oh, it's a letdown spot. It's a letdown spot. How do you counter that, and then what is it that San Jose State's going to try and do that you're going to try and take away?
Yeah, so like I kind of mentioned earlier, we got a chance to break down some of the Washington tape, and it was pretty obvious there was some things that we need to work on. It was not a, hey, you guys played the best game of your lives. We're great. We don't need to do anything else. Like, there was a lot of room for improvement off that tape, and the way that this team is built is we're just hungry to get better at every chance we can get, and I know the guys are going to be hungry to get back out there on Friday and show how much better we can be. When it comes to what San Jose State presents, they're a 3-0 football team. Obviously have some guys that have been tied to WSU in the past. So there's a little bit of that involved. But, they have some real talent. They're obviously 3-0, and they're going to be coming up here and looking to knock off a team that, as you just said, they might view us as we're not respecting them because of the win we just had. But that cannot be the mindset coming into the week.
Yeah. Well, it should be a fantastic game. You got a chance to get another victory, go to a 4-0 on the season, and looking ahead and try not to look too far ahead. And we're going to work on that Sellers deal. We're going to get that for you.
Let's
or just any deal, whatever you want. We'll make something happen for you. When you're not playing football, not hanging out with your girlfriend, what do you like to do in your free time? Just to have fun, get away from things.
Get away. A little hard during season right now because obviously, a lot of time is spent doing it, but I've really fallen in love with Palouse Ridge and, hitting the course. Nothing quite beats, getting out there on a good Palouse afternoon, sun's out, breeze is blowing a little bit, and just hitting some golf balls. Not necessarily hitting them very well, but you know what? It's the thought that counts.
What kind of golfer are you? Where do you struggle at the most? Everything, like most golfers like us do?
Yeah, no, I struggle with absolutely everything. You'll see me and you'll absolutely recognize that I am firstly not a golfer, and in fact, I'm a football player. The fact that I haven't broken a club yet, I think, is testament to my ability to control my emotions, but I've been close once or twice.
What angers you the most or upsets you the most on the golf course?
The fact that the ball just doesn't go where you want it to go. Like the fact that you can do something that you think you've done however many times, you're like, I just hit this shot. Why can I not hit it again? And it's just such a guessing game. Like every time I get to the ball, it's a different thought or it's a different this, and it's just frustrating. But I love it. It gets me every time.
It's the most frustrating sport I think there is. It's also the most, I think, addictive sport.
No doubt. It fully has its claws in me.
Yeah, you guys are so lucky to have that beautiful golf course there. When I was there, I graduated in 2000. It was a 9-hole goat track. I mean, it was where the driving range is now was like the 9th hole. I mean, it was fine, but it was not Palouse Ridge, which is beautiful.
It is beautiful. Wow. This time of the year, and especially with all the rolling hills, and you get some beautiful views of the Palouse. And especially you get a little sunset action going on. It's a legit spot.
I think lastly, I think fans and people always like to hear, you can hear me talk about it, you can hear Coach Dicker talk about it, but I think hearing from a player's perspective, when we talk about NIL and the donation to the Cougar Collective and to join, to give back, you tell our viewers and our listeners, why is it so important, to give back to the student athlete?
Man, why is it? I think it's important because I want to make sure I get this right, because it means so much to us athletes. You have so many amazing guys in the locker room and so many amazing stories, and it gives players the ability to create just a quality of life for themselves that otherwise wouldn't be possible. There's a lot of guys in the team who parents might not be able to make it to the game if it weren't for the donations. A lot of guys who it just makes living life a little easier for them. And it doesn't go without appreciation. every little thing any little thing that, people are able to donate, it means so much to us here in the locker room and here as a program, and it's more than just going to players. I mean, we're talking about like locker rooms and the sports complex. And there's so many amazing projects that go on through the fans and through donors that we're so grateful for. And it just allows for really a world-class experience here at Washington State. And yeah, we couldn't be more grateful for it.
That's great. Well, you can do it. You can join today. Go to CougarCollective.org. They got a matching program of fun right now. They're going to match any donation there as well. You can join the 1890 Club. Again, I mentioned it at the start. Just $18.90 a month. Basically, if you live on the west side or anywhere, it's lunch one time. Lunch one time wherever you're at. You can also make a one-time donation. You can also just make a one-time to individual athletes like Kyle himself and others. You can also enjoy the Old Crimson Legendary Lager, which is brewed by Pike Brewing. Sales benefit the Cougar Collective. Again, go visit CougarCollective.org. Also, big thanks to Andy Largent at Flat Stick Pub, Cougar-owned and operated. They got 6 amazing locations: Kirkland, Pioneer Square, South Lake Union, Spokane, Bellingham, and Redmond. Visit them at flatstickpub.com. Kyle, great chat. Great catching up with you. Great play last week. Awesome. You'll have that for the rest of your life, and they've already got a name for it, the stop. And you are going to be 75 years old with a big beer gut, sitting on your porch, telling your grandkids, "Hey, let me pull up." They won't even have phones. Whatever they have, it's going to be something in the palm. It's just going to appear and let's pull up that play from the 2024 Apple Cup. Look at your grandfather move. Huh? It's going to be what a great memory for you and the rest of your teammates. Thank you for doing it, and hopefully we'll catch up later in the season.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. Go Cougs.
Go Cougs. There he is, Kyle Thornton. In case you can watch it YouTube, Apple, Spotify, wherever you find your podcast, and of course at pucksports.com.